Awesome. So thank you all for coming and all of our supports. Thank you again, Molly and Amber and Miranda and of course Mary Abby. Thank you all for participating and helping us, kind of guide us along. We've actually gotten little hints, tips, and tricks from everybody, and really, it's really a team effort here. So I really want to thank everybody for anything and anything that they have shared already. So today is part two of Aim to Succeed. The whole goal for a winter program was to build on a skill. So we decided to build on the camera. So as most of you recall, last time we did a presentation that was Accessible Camera Basics Part 1. And basically the whole concept of that was, why are we using a camera and what can the camera be used for? So we did some introduction and helped you guide you through just using the camera, what some of the functions sound like, and so forth. That's built right into our iPhones, iPads, and Android devices. So today, what we were hoping to do is build off of that, and let's look at part two. And part two of the camera would be incorporating some apps. So now that we know how to use the camera within our phone or iPod or iPad or Android, like I said, now what we can do is we can start looking at apps that can help increase our independence as well as our quality of life. So it's also considered artificial intelligence. So the title said something about artificial intelligence. So let's talk a little bit about that. And basically what we mean here is its ability for a machine to be able to learn from an experience through tasks that are performed by humans. So basically what's
I'm
happening.
I'm gonna mute everyone, I'm sorry, just
sure,
a second.
Awesome.
And it's gonna mute you too, so just keep an eye on that.
Gotcha.
So if anyone if anyone needs to unmute, it is *6 on the telephone. Okay.
All right, so just moving on. So remember that we're talking about our artificial intelligence and some of their apps and the fact that they can learn from our experiences and perform tasks that were once only humans could do, such as reading text, right? So today we're going to focus on two apps that offer us this. And it is truly unfortunate that there's only two of these apps that are really, really good. We're going to throw in a couple of others that we thought were potentially notable, but we really think that these were the top two to really help increase our quality of life and independence. And that is Seeing AI, and that is the word seeing. So it's SEEING, and then a space, and then the capital letters AI, as in artificial intelligence. And the other app is called Envision AI, and that's Envision with an E, ENVISION. Now, both apps are free, but Seeing AI is free always, and Envision AI is at a cost. And so I think Mary Abby did a ton of work on this presentation. So Mary Abby, you take it away.
Okie dokie. And if you have any questions in the midst of that, we'll stop for questions every so often. You can let us know what they are. So first, let's go into what different features or what different uses the camera has for us that would be helpful. So here are some common features that you may find in either an artificial intelligence app or even just a general app that's meant to be used with the camera for the visually impaired. So oftentimes you'll find something that will help with color or money identification. So the camera can be used to identify colors for maybe clothing or different fabrics or different objects, and for currency identification. So in particular, I know Seeing AI can identify a number of different currencies, not just American dollar. So you can hold the camera right above the currency and it'll tell you how much it is, which is very useful, I find. You can also have some light identification, which is where it tells you using sound how much light is in the room or the area that you're pointing the camera at. And oftentimes what it does is it makes a lower pitched sound for darker or for lack of light, and a higher pitch sound for high amounts of light. So the higher the pitch, the more light there is, and the lower the pitch of the sound, the lower the light is. So if some people have trouble listening to high frequencies or low frequencies, keep that in mind. There's also something called optical character recognition, which is also, some people abbreviate that to OCR. And that is where the camera is used to take a photo um, or a quick snapshot of a piece of paper. And it is then translated into text that we can hear with voiceover, or in some people's cases that they can see on the screen of the device. So that's called OCR. Some people use that OCR. They use it on computers with scanners too. So it's not just for phones, but in this case, we're talking about the OCR on our cell phones and iPads and things like that. There's also something called scene detection, which is where you can take a photo of an area and it can try to tell you what it sees in the area. So the other day I took a photo of my dog laying in her bed and it said mammal, fawn colored bed. So I was able to kind of guess that it was my dog in her bed. And so it can do different things like that, and it can tell you what's in the camera, what's in the view, the focus of the camera. So those are a few of the common features, not all of them, just a handful. Okay, so here are some things to consider when you are looking for an app. And not even just an artificial intelligence app. This kind of goes for any app that you want to download or that you're looking for. Some apps cost money, and this kind of goes without saying, but some apps are free. Some apps are free for a period of time and then will cost money afterwards, and then some cost money right from the get-go. So for example, Seeing AI is completely free forever. You can just download it whenever you want and use it out of the box. Envision AI has a 14-day trial, and it then is a paid app, and that is, I think it's like $20 a year, I believe. So once the 14 days is over, you got to subscribe to a plan with them to then you continue to use it. Then there are other types of apps, which none of the apps we're talking about today are in this case, but there are some apps where it's free, but to use some of the more advanced features, you have to pay a subscription fee. So, like I said, none of the apps here are like that we're talking about, but they do exist. So keep an eye out for those. And those subscriptions can always be canceled whenever you decide to cancel them. But just know that. For the apps that we're talking about today, and for apps that have the features that I just mentioned before, they require a camera. So everything we're mentioning needs a camera in order to really perform these functions. Without a camera, you won't be able to recognize any currency or colors or lights or any of the words on a document. You will need a camera. So that's something to keep in mind. And the last thing to keep in mind is, well, actually, the second to last thing to keep in mind is you should keep an eye on when the app was last updated. So there was an app that I was going to mention for this presentation, but when I looked, the last time it was updated was 2 years ago, and that's not really great because there could be a lot of problems and it may not be able to run on the latest operating system or on the latest phones. So you may run into more trouble than it's worth trying to use an old app. So if you are trying to look for an app, just make sure that it's been recently updated within the last year at least. And the way to do that is if you're in the App Store searching for an app, this goes for iPhone. And if someone's an Android user, they can let us know how they would do it. But if you're in the App Store, if you go down, there's a heading that says what's new. And then you look under that heading and it says when the last update was sent out to everyone. And so that way you can tell when the most recent update was and if it's a good fit for your phone or not. And something else to keep in mind is it's important to experiment with these different apps. Some apps are better than others at certain things. For example, I find that Envision AI is really good for color identification, but not so great with OCR. So that's just an example. So try different apps with different functions. Some apps are better than others for certain things. Be patient with them, as they do require to use the camera. And so what you should do is practice with different angles, lighting, and different heights from the page or the object. And that way you can get the best results that you need, because sometimes, it's very frustrating to try to use the camera when you can't see what you're doing. So before you say, oh, this app is no good, I'm just going to get rid of it. Try it out with different settings, different light, different heights, and different angles before you completely throw it out the window. Although sometimes it makes you want to throw it out a window. So, all right. Let's jump into Envision AI. So Envision AI is, like I said, $19.99 a year, and it has a 14-day trial. It is an Android and an iPhone app, so you can get it on both Android or iPad/iPhone. So you have a bit of flexibility there. It does have a magnification feature, which allows you to zoom into pieces of text, and there is the option to invert the colors. So if you like black on white or white on black, you have that choice while you're looking through the different text that you're scanning in. So here are some features that it has that you may find interesting. It has a object option, which is literally like, okay, I dropped my keys and I can't find my keys. So turn on Envision AI, and if you choose the option for objects, you are then given a list of common household objects like cup, water bottle, key, laptop, and you pick the one that you're looking for, and it scans the area as you move the camera about specifically for that object. So lost my water bottle, it's rolling around on the ground somewhere, I choose the water bottle option in that menu, and now it's every time, like while I'm moving the camera around, it's going to be looking for the water bottle that I've dropped. So that might be helpful, and some people would like that rather than crawling around trying to look for a water bottle. There's also the feature to scan multiple pages. So if you're trying to read a book, what it does is it is continuously scanning and taking photos. So as you flip the pages, it will snap a photo of that of the page as you turn them. And it also has people detection, which you can teach it different faces. So let's say that I have a photo of Gloria. So I send it over to Envision AI and say, this is Gloria. So if I'm using the phone to scan the room, it may detect Gloria's face and say, oh, Gloria, whenever I'm pointing the camera in her direction. So I'm like, oh, that's where Gloria is. I was looking for her. So it has a people detection option as well. And that is especially useful in the case that you have the Envision AI glasses. So you can obtain these glasses that you wear, and they allow you access to all of these features, but kind of in a hands-off way, because I believe they have a built-in camera so that you can just look at a document and it will do a little scan for you, or it will perform the facial recognition feature as you're looking around, turning your head around. And it just allows you to use all of the features that Envision AI provides with glasses, rather than having to use your phone and aiming your phone. So whatever you look at whatever you turn your head towards is what the glasses will detect, and it will help to trigger those features for you. So that is one of the uses for the Envision AI glasses, and some people may like that better, because if you're grocery shopping, for example, you can then look around, try to scan for specific labels, and instead of having to try to
join the meeting
to a can or a box.
Mary, it's Molly. Could I ask a question?
Sure. Yep.
Did you say a price for those Envision AI glasses? Did I miss it? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't
Nope.
mention a price. And I'll get that for you before the session's over, because I didn't mention that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I had one other quick question, if this is a good time. If not, I can wait.
No, go for it.
So that feature where you said if you drop something on the floor, you can select that option. Does that have to be an object that you taught the app to recognize, or is it just like you dropped your water bottle, so you pick the generic term water bottle and it knows to look for it?
Correct. So there's a generic list that's already generated for you, and you go and you pick the one that it fits with. So it's kind of a long list, but I don't know how it works with
I would imagine.
I don't know how it works with unique looking objects. You'd have to kind of experiment with things that may look different.
Join the meeting.
So that's an option that you can try, but I don't know if there's a way to teach it specific things. So I think you may have to go with generic objects from that list.
That's still really cool. I say that as somebody who drops a lot of stuff on the floor. And so far, right, Seeing AI doesn't have an equivalent to that.
So far,
correct?
No. That is a unique feature to Envision AI that some may find useful.
That is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Thanks for the good questions. Does anyone else have any about Envision AI before I keep going? Remember, if you're on a telephone line, it is *6 to unmute. Okay. And yes, Molly, before the session's over, I'll get you that price for the glasses, and I'll let you guys know what that looks like.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We are going to go into some tips when using Envision AI, some things to keep in mind about it. So as I said before, the color detection on Envision AI I found it to be more accurate than Seeing AI's color detection. I don't know if that was my lighting condition or what the case was, but I found it to be pretty good. They have two different modes. They have a basic color, and then they also have it so you can make it detect more complex colors. So I think the basic version, it would tell you like green, gray, yellow, pink, blue. But the enhanced colors, it tells you like teal or sky blue, ocean blue. Like it's more specific to the shades, I think, than the generic red, green, blue, orange, yellow. So there are two modes for that. This is a really important one to keep in mind. You are not given guidance when performing OCR. So if you're trying to scan a photo, it's not going to tell you, okay, you can't see the left edge, move to the left a little. It's not going to tell you any of that. It just says, when I was doing it, it just kept saying, edges not detected, edges not detected, edges not detected. And I kept trying to move the camera, but I didn't know which edges it wasn't seeing. So I actually found it a little frustrating. And especially if you can't see what the camera is looking at. So keep that in mind. The edges, the app does not give you any guidance on where to aim the camera specifically. So that's a bit of a difference there. A tip that I can give you is to aim the camera and then wait 5 seconds before you try to change the angle or the lighting or the height. Just give it some time to adjust before you try moving it again. And when you move it, kind of try to move slowly so that if it does detect the whole document, it has time to tell you that before you move away too fast. Find something to help you keep the phone steady. If you're having trouble with, maybe your hand is a little shaky that day, or you've been doing this for half an hour and your hand is getting exhausted, find something to prop your phone on, maybe place your phone on top of like a box or makeshift stand that you can put together. So there's some tips about Envision. Questions?
I have a question, Mary Abby.
Hi, Ned.
How are you today?
Good, how are
Gloria,
you?
everyone. I'm doing well, thank you. Well, my question actually is more going back to Seeing AI, but I have my poodle doodle scan. Gloria, you mentioned a scan a couple of classes back. It's unfoldable and you place the camera on it. So I nicknamed it Poodle Doodle.
Okay.
When I what I'm trying to do is to be efficient with online banking. So I have a cancel check. I'm trying to copy it so then I can send it into the bank as a deposit. And yes, I have found that you put it under the stand and you wait about 5 seconds and it may say left edge not visible, right edge, bottom. So I'll, move it back and forth, up and down. But then without even realizing it, all of a sudden it either says freeze or it takes the picture.
Mm.
And then it'll read it back to me. But issues that I'm having is how to save it as a file and how to send it to the
Ah,
bank.
good questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we will go into how to save that file in just a second, Ned. That's a really good question. How to send it to your bank is a different matter just because every bank is different.
Yes.
Some apps require you to actually use their app to take the photo. And so if you take it with an external
Ooh.
app like Seeing AI, it's not going to work.
Uh-oh.
So that's something to keep in mind. I know Bank of America is that way. You have to take the photo within the application. I think it's a security thing. So, and I think they do try to take them automatically for you once it detects all the edges. At least the Bank of America one is like that. Somebody with Citizens would have to tell us how theirs works. So that's something we can look into, Ned. But I can certainly address the question about saving files.
Okay, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so funnily enough, we will start talking about Seeing AI in just now. So Seeing AI is free of charge. It is made by Microsoft. And it has different channels that you can flip through. So if you think of kind of a remote, it has a what we call a adjustable. If you're familiar with voiceover, it will say adjustable, and that means you can flick up and down through the different channels, and they have channels for short text, document, product, and I will go and explain what some of these are in a minute. Like I said before, they have a color detection channel. They also have a light detection channel, which is the one that will tell you based on the pitch of the sound how much light is in the area that you're pointing your camera at. It also can detect handwriting, and I actually think it does a pretty good job at that. And it does have the scene detection and the people detection feature that I've mentioned before. And it has a few of these. I think it also has the currency feature as well. And I'm sure there's one I'm missing. So if you find one that I haven't mentioned, just let us know. But the difference between short text and document scanning is this. So short text is when you put a piece of paper or maybe a label or a sticker underneath the camera or in front of the camera, and it will tell you in real time as you move the camera about what text it's seeing. Document is when you want to scan a full page, maybe not just a small label, and you hold the camera above it, and it actually will tell you. That's when it tells you left edge not visible, right edge not visible, top edge visible. It will guide you until it gets the whole page in view, and then it will automatically take a photo once that whole page is in view for you, and then it will let you read the whole document. So document channel is for large chunks of text. The short text channel is mainly for product labels, envelopes, package labels. If you got a whole million packages from Amazon the other day, you don't know which one's for you. You can use the short text feature and just see if you can get part of that name. And so, okay, I said Mary, so I know that's mine. So that is what the difference is between the short text and the document channel. If you want to save the photo to your photos, if you want to save the photo that it took into your library of photos, you would need to use the documents channel and let it automatically take the photo for you. And then once it loads that text, there's a button that should say save photo. I think it's near the bottom, but I could be wrong. I would need to double check that. So like Envision AI, so they both allow you to do this. You can if you have a photo in your library and you don't know what that photo is, you can actually hit the share button on that photo in your library, send it through to Seeing AI or Envision AI, and it will process that photo and tell you what's in it. So if that photo has text in it, it will read the text aloud to you. If that photo has some people in it, it might say, five faces, 5 people standing in a glade of grass. And it tries to use all of the different features to identify all of the elements in that photo. And I mentioned this earlier just now. So it does, unlike Envision AI, this one will provide you some guidance on where to aim the camera. So if it says left edge not visible, that means you need to just move the camera just a little bit to your left to capture all of the information. And once it's got the whole thing in frame, it will just snap the photo for you. That is in the document channel.
Abby, can I ask you a
Yes.
question? So, like, if we're in a photo, okay, and I want to send the photo.
Yep.
So at the top we get, so I'm in the photo, I pick the photo. On the
Yep.
top it says, you know, you can text it to somebody, you can Where would it say to send it to?
Seeing AI?
Yeah.
It usually is way at the bottom. It says recognize with Seeing AI. If you don't see that, you may have to add it into that list. There's an edit button at the very bottom.
Yeah,
I
at
think.
the bottom. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I see that. Okay.
Yep. And
but
so if
for your information, it says recognize with Seeing AI.
Yep,
And
recognize
yes,
with
it
Seeing
is in that
AI.
list. Yep.
And then once you hit that, it makes the processing sound. It makes a little tone, do 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 do. It makes a little song, and then it will show you the scene. If there's a scene in the photo, sometimes it will say looks like a screenshot of a computer, or looks like a dog in a bed. And then if there's text in it, then it will give you that text as well. So I find that pretty convenient. So here are some tips for you with Seeing AI. When you are given a tip, such as left edge not visible, try not to make large or fast movements. Shift the camera over to the left in small increments until you are given new feedback. So that means just kind of be patient with that. Let it process the changes that you're making with the motions that your hand is doing. And then eventually it may say, okay, now the top edge isn't visible. So then you can start moving up instead of to the left. So let it process before you make big movements. Start by holding the camera about 11 inches away or so, maybe 10 to 12 inches, I'd say. If you keep hearing that no edges are visible, then try to bring it closer or farther away. That's when you can start playing with the height. But so far, we found that 11 inches seems to be ideal. And it's kind of hard to judge what 11 inches is without a ruler, but sometimes arm's length and a little bit lower, depending on your arm. Kind of tricky.
Usually I start with the elbow and just kind of go up to the wrist and then just try that.
Yes.
And then go from there, like you said.
Yeah, that works. That seems to work pretty well. Anyone have any questions about Seeing AI?
I'm just going to make a couple of tips. So we need to be mindful, like what really makes this work is stabilizing yourself. And keeping both yourself for me personally, I sway. So I have to lean up against something to make sure that I am stable. And I usually put my elbows to my side or I rest them on the table. Because any kind of jiggling motion is going to make that whole text just be icky. So obviously, like Mary Abby said, if you have like a box or a stand, I usually just get like an Amazon box. It's about 11 inches and I hang the camera right off the edge and then I can put the text right underneath of it. That's a simple way of doing it. But for those of you that are very steady, prop yourself up against something, stabilize your elbows, and then put your camera in place. It's all of that preparation that will make this, will make it productive. If you don't do the prep and kind of play with it first, then the outcome is going to be frustration.
Yes. And before we go on to the next two, we have a few more apps left. But before we do that, I'll just do a little demo of Seeing AI. Awesome. We actually have a stand here, a scanning stand or an iPad stand, depends how you want to call it. And we've made it it's adjustable. So we've made this to 11 inches, which is we found the perfect height for it. 3 notifications. And what I'll do is I will scan this document. It's an insight brochure, I believe. This document, what you need to know is it is a regular looking document. There's no columns, there's no graphics. Actually, there may be graphics, but I don't think so. Gloria?
Nope, no graphics.
No
Nope, just
graphics.
text.
And it's all text, so no columns. And we're gonna do it in document mode. I'm gonna put it right above the page. Processing. Cancel button. Back button. Scan result. Overall blurred. What challenges have you been facing during the COVID-19 pandemic? Are there tools or skills you wish you had under your belt to increase your independence? So it scanned the whole document automatically. The whole document was in frame, so it said hold steady, and then it just snapped the photo, and that was it. It just took the photo. And now the whole thing is up on the screen. I can, at the bottom, I believe there is the save button. Stop button. Increase, decrease, share, play. Stop. Oh yeah, the save photo button, I believe, is in the share menu, which is where you can actually also send it to somebody if you were needing to do that. For contrast purposes, just to show you the difference, I'm going to take this off the stand, and I'm going to take my phone off the stand, and I'm going to try to do this without the guide of the stand and the height. So we're going to just kind of play with that and see how it does. Menu button. No edges visible.
So we can't see Mary Abby holding up the phone, but basically what she's doing is she's raising and lowering the phone to try to find the appropriate height for her to get the whole document in. So she's just doing it without a stand.
No edges visible. Bottom and left edges not visible. Okay, bottom and left isn't visible. Bottom and left edges not visible. Actually, I'm holding my phone up the wrong way, so let's try that again. Sorry. No edges visible. Right and bottom edges not visible. Okay, so right and bottom, so I'm going to move my hand diagonally just a little bit. Bottom and left edges not visible. Bottom edge not visible. And I'm making very slow movements. Oh, hold steady. Processing. Here we go. Applications and devices that may help you had under your belt. What challenges have you been facing? Overall blurred. Oh, yeah, and I got the whole thing just like before. What challenges have you been facing during the COVID-19 pandemic? It's very much easier with a stand, as you could tell earlier, but it is certainly doable without one. You just have to be patient with the feedback that it's giving you, and you have to really try to follow it in small, slow movements. Otherwise, it's gonna throw it off a bit. TeamSpeak. Okay.
Yep. Mary Abby?
Yes, Ned.
May I make a tip that I found to be helpful?
Yes.
I went to a fabric store and got a very dark piece of fabric. I actually have a piece of sort of a black velvet. So with any kind of a paper document or even my check, it really makes it stand out more and probably easier to detect at the beginning.
Oh, great point, Ned. He's right. If you have a good contrasting background, it makes that paper pop out. And so it's easier for the camera to spot. That's a really good trick, Ned. So yes, if you're having a white page, you can have a black fabric behind it or a black tablecloth, whatever works. And that might make it certainly easier. Thank you, Ned.
You're welcome.
Yeah, awesome tip.
Tricky if you have like fancy paper that's like pink or green, but most paper is pretty white, so that's good.
What's the other thing too is just kind of just going off of Ned's idea is, for those people that can't see and you want that significant contrast, go to Walmart or the dollar store and get yourself a piece of black foam board. That's a little, like that's 14 by 14 or something like that. Exactly. And then that way you can feel it. You can feel the edges, line the page up, and you got the contrast. So
great idea. Good
or
tips
maybe construction paper.
Construction paper is good. It has to be bigger than the standard print paper. But yes, good point. Poster board, whatever the case is. You have many options. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
So this next one is is geared more towards those who are just visually impaired, not totally blind, but I think it may also read text aloud to you, which is good. So it's called Supervision Plus Magnifier. So it actually just turns your phone into a giant magnifying magnifying glass. Gloria, do you want to talk about this one?
Yep. So what's really nice about this app, for those of you that have vision and you need a magnifier of some kind, if you have a phone, this is incredible. I will say one thing though, it starts off at a really big magnification. So if you want to see things like a little small, this isn't the device. It has major magnification. It can also be used as a microscope. So it has a lot of capabilities in that area in terms of making things really big. You can see things really minutely. When I go to, you can also tell it to you can bring a photo in and then enlarge that photo without it getting grainy. It has, the ability with, to, you can turn the flashlight on right within the app. I think Pauline and I had talked about something like that at some point, but we found that very helpful to have the flashlight right within the app.
It also stabilizes too.
That's the other thing too, is while I don't know about you guys, but oftentimes if I'm using my magnifier on my phone, if I don't stabilize my elbow, I get a little jiggly, and then of course the magnified image is a mess. It gets all blurred. So there's actually a stabilizer right within the app that can help you. I mean, of course we have to stabilize ourselves, but it also helps to take away some of the finer, minute, movement that we make. And again, that was free and a very nice app. So, but again, going back, a lot of this depends on your camera. So I played with, we have an iPod Touch, last year's model. And so I downloaded the app and I tried the magnifier on that. It was good, but remember the camera on the iPod Touch isn't as good as the cameras on the newer phones. So the image wasn't as crisp and clear. And then of course on the iPod Touch, I have a smaller screen.
What's the name of the app?
Supervision Plus Magnifier.
Okay.
Supervision Plus Magnifier.
Is the plus spelled out or is it a plus sign?
I think it's a plus sign.
I think so
Thank
too.
you.
Yep, plus sign.
When Gloria tried it out, she was all excited about it. So give it a shot.
Yeah, I was. One last thing that it does that I haven't found a lot of other apps to do is while you're in magnification, you can invert the colors. For some people, this is helpful. For some, not so much. But I haven't seen an app to do that. But this one has it.
Oh, you can also save the snapshots.
Yep, yep. Cool, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So I was going to say, if you manage to get a good photo that you want to keep and save for later, like a receipt or whatever the case is, then you can save that snapshot. You can freeze the image and also lock the focus. So it has quite a few capabilities. It's made by either APH or Mass Eye and Ear. It's kind of listed under both, so I wasn't sure. But
yeah, I think it was a joint.
Yeah, it must have been a joint effort. So it seems to be a pretty good one. So check it out. Questions so far? We've kind of covered a lot of stuff here.
Do I have this on my Android or is that only on Apple's?
It may only be an Apple app, Tracy. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It's because I'm
looking in the Play
Store and I don't see anything that sounds like supervision.
Right. It may be an Android, an Apple one, but Android may have similar ones.
I'm even looking for magnifier.
Android does.
I don't see the magnifier either, but I'm still looking.
Mary Abby or Gloria, is there a subscription for this magnifier app you just mentioned?
Nope, it's free.
Oh, good.
Have at it.
How about it?
Good times.
Yeah, Tracy, we'll find some good magnifiers for Android too, and we'll let you know.
Thank you.
What we can do, yeah.
I'm looking myself and I don't see it. And does it let me search in the App Store?
Yeah.
If you're in the Google Play Store, you should have There's one called, Tracy, there's one just called Magnifier, and then there's another one called Lookout. And that should be in the Google Play Store.
Okay, maybe.
Magnifier is one, and that's really nice. So you have to go in the Google Play Store.
Okay. Okay, Magnifier. And what was the second one?
The second one is called Lookout.
All one word?
All one word, yep.
Okay.
And it looks like a pair of, the icon itself looks like a pair of binoculars. And those are two Android.
That sounds cute.
Yeah.
Happy
They're actually
exploring.
pretty good. They're pretty good. And give me a call if I can help.
Okay, thank you.
Good times. Okay, so I don't know. Well, same tips apply for this one. Keep the phone steady. Use the stabilization mode if you need it, and that's only the really thing that you need to keep in mind for this one. It's not very complex, thankfully. This one is a fun one. It is, again, unfortunately, an iOS only app. So sorry, Tracy.
That's okay.
We need to work on that. Make them all make some better apps for Android. It's called Laundry Lens, and what it is a app that will scan your clothing tags for your care labels, and it looks for little symbols that are printed on it and tells you what to do to care for your clothing. It's a very minimal app. There's not many controls in it. And yeah, so it scans clothing for laundry symbols. It has two modes. So it shows, one mode is it shows you the information for the clothing that you're looking at in the moment. And the other mode is it lets you look through the whole database of symbols and understand what those different symbols are and what they mean. So either you can look through the general database or you can scan your clothing tag and see if it can detect those symbols. I think it's pretty fun. I tried it on my coat the other day and it captured, like, the first time it only got 3 symbols. The next time it got 5 symbols. So I'm not really sure how many there were. It's actually a very new app, so I think they're still kind of, it's a work in progress, but it's a pretty cool effort. It's tricky to aim the camera on clothing unless it's on a flat surface, because as you know, clothing gets pretty wrinkled. Sometimes the tags are all curled up and squished, so that can be a bit of a challenge. It can also, and that makes it hard to get the tags in frame, especially if the tag is a little bit mangled by that point. Point the camera steadily. This is a tip that somebody on the Applevis forum gave when they tried the app. Point the camera steadily for 3 to 4 seconds at a time from about 10 inches away. And older clothing may have faded tags that are difficult for the app to recognize. There is no verbal direction given as to where to point the camera either. So it's not going to tell you, okay, move to the left a little bit or anything like that. So it's always a possibility that not all of the symbols will be captured. But it is pretty useful. I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool effort. So does anyone have any questions?
That was a lot.
That was a lot of info, and that was our last one. So if anyone has any questions or comments or anything, just feel free to unmute yourself and let us know what they are. Or if you have apps that work for you that we haven't mentioned, that would be great as well.
I can tell you about another one that I found. It's called Super Sense.
Super Sense is good.
Super Sense.
Super Sense. Is that one a free one, Gloria, or is that a paid one?
Yep, it's a free one. And it just the scanner comes on right away, and like it doesn't give you much feedback and just snaps the picture pretty quickly. I would say it's more of an app that's more geared towards those individuals with like auditory processing issues or who have some learning disabilities, that kind of thing. I'm not really convinced that it was really made for blind and visually impaired, because there's no feedback. It's just as soon as you turn it on, it's just waiting to look at the camera and find text.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you a lot of feedback. Yeah, it does make it a little tricky. But
there's also one called ID.
That's
EYE-D. And
right.
it's also a OCR app, mainly an OCR app. But I think it was actually pretty accurate compared to some of the other ones I tried while I was making this presentation. So EYE-D.
Free too?
Yes, free too. It
Mary
doesn't
Abby?
give you as much feedback. Yes.
This is Janet Murray.
Hey.
Hi.
Janet.
Do you know anybody who has used the Envision glasses? the
I
Google Glasses?
don't, unfortunately, no. I don't know. Yeah, now that I only really found out about the Envision glasses in my research. Does anyone else know anyone that has the Envision glasses?
Well, I did get to try them once,
You
one
did?
time when they first came out. Yeah, and they work a lot. Is anybody familiar with like Orcam? They work kind of a lot like the Orcam does. Orcam has the glasses with a camera that's mounted like on the arm that goes onto
yeah.
the side. I don't think Envision does that, but basically it's looking for you to make a hand motion to then be able to detect the text.
Oh, they
So
are
like with an Orcam, it's waiting for you to put your finger up like this.
Gotcha.
And then it recognizes your finger is placed up. And then what it does is it actually snaps the text that's at the point of your finger. And Envision works very similar to that. So did you get to see how much the glasses were?
You guys don't want me to tell you.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Let's just say they look like they are 4 digits because I think they're part of, they use a Google Glass as their base.
Okay.
Yeah.
High 4 digits or low 4 digits?
So what I see is Envision glasses are available for pre-order today. This is I need to see when this was last updated, but super early bird pricing of $16.99. And then it goes up from there.
Oh, boy.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the highest number I see is 2,000. So
yeah,
that may have changed.
I need to leave early. I have another Zoom, but thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you for
joining us.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Be safe.
I think
there
it's
you go,
really
Molly.
awesome about the Envision AI, how it like tells you the objects. Because I'm with Molly, I didn't like, where's my water bottle? Where's this? When I drop stuff. So I think that's really cool.
That is awesome. I really think that's a cool feature.
It's funny how it lacks in some things and then it's actually better at other things. So it's hard to make a decision on whether you should pay for it or not, you know?
Right.
So, one of those things. Just so that you guys know, the way the Envision AI app works, you get a 14-day trial and they don't charge you anything. After the 14 days, the app is still there and it's still like usable. However, if you go to try to scan a document, it keeps bringing you back to the, okay, your 14 days is up script. So it's there, but it's not functional.
And, this is Molly. I kind of wonder if, because that's a thing on Envision AI, their direct competition, I wonder if Microsoft, who manufactures Seeing AI, will say, oh, they have something we don't, we better get on it and make that channel. So I wonder if it's just a matter of time until that is available on Seeing AI.
Yeah, I'm wondering the same thing, yeah.
But you never know.
So just to update you guys, the Envision AI glasses is primarily in the euros. So I was thinking, maybe that euro number maybe it's higher than the dollar amount it is, but it is $3,955 with tax.
Whoa.
Oof.
Yeah.
Okay then.
That in mind.
Yeah.
I will just
asking
get on the
someone else to
floor
read
and
it
look
for you
around
is
for my
free.
water bottle.
Well, you can always
That's
just use your
right,
phone
yeah.
camera, Molly, and you don't need the glasses to do that. So it's
You're right.
You can do that too. But goodness gracious, that price! You could buy a whole braille display with that.
I was just gonna say.
So,
Yep, exactly.
does anyone else have questions for us or comments? There is also the KNFB reader, which we didn't mention here, but it is made by the NFB, and It is the only one that so far we found to handle charts or columns or tables when it's doing OCR. So it didn't seem that Seeing AI or Envision AI was doing too well with tables on paper. So if you're looking for that capability, so far it looks like KNFB Reader is the best choice. Does anyone have an updated price on that? I know they changed it recently. It used
I
to
was
be,
just gonna ask.
It used to be
Yeah, I'm on the
99.
website looking. Yeah. I'm looking.
Mary Abby, did you try Voice Stream Scanner? How does that handle charts and stuff?
Oh, I didn't try that with charts, but I know that in general they have really good OCR capabilities.
Because I think no matter how much cheaper the KNFB Reader app is, and don't get me wrong, it is a good app. It's very robust. It's great at, organizing documents as well, like if you're scanning large documents. But the Voice Stream Scanner is definitely going to be cheaper.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I have both. This is Angie.
Yes.
Hey,
I have both. The Voice Stream. I paid for the KNFB Reader app $75.
Yep.
But now if you have the Newsline app, the KNFB Reader is in the Newsline app and it's free. The Newsline app is free. I do use the Voice Stream Reader scanner and the KNFB Reader scanner. I like them both.
Okay.
When I was in school doing paralegal briefs and all that, and for workman's comp, we had to do a lot of charts and insurance things, and the KNFB Reader did the best reading for me, because you can't bring your laptop and your Pearl camera with you, so I did it with the phone, and
it did the best for you.
Yeah, and it was what I found helpful, because I always tell Gloria, my toolbox is always full. I still have my micro cassette. Right, Gloria?
yeah.
I used the both, apps, camera apps, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a proud member of the NFB. Just full disclosure, it just works better for me, especially the court system is not up to date with all their records being digitized. So you'd have to go down to the Garrahy building and whatever court building you had to go and look in their records for stuff. And there was like tabs, the file tabs, and it was just okay. So then you'd get the binder out and flip, and it just made it easier. I'm like, okay, this is the one I want, This is the KNFB Reader it took the picture faster. Like,
okay,
it was only by like half a second,
but it was noticeable.
It's when time is money, when they're breathing down your neck, you got to get it going, But the Voice Stream Reader, I like about the Voice Stream Reader, we didn't talk about it with the photos. It does do, when you import the photo to describe it, it does do better than Seeing AI app.
Good tip.
I like it better.
Good to know, Angie. Thank you. I do actually really enjoy Voice Stream.
Reader is still $99.
Yes, it is still $99. I thought they had decreased it, but
no, it's still $99.
They give you, sometimes they give you a sale around Christmas time, but usually it's.
Yeah, but they didn't do it this Christmas, those bastards.
No.
But again, just to reiterate what this is Molly, just to reiterate what Angie said, if you are a user of NFB Newsline, which it's free, that's a completely free service. The app itself is free. I believe you have to get registered with them in order to have full use of the app. But once you've done that, which is quite an easy process, KNFB Reader functionality is in that app. So actually,
it could be
can
free.
Get it completely free. And then you also, have the added bonus of being able to utilize the Newsline service. But honestly, even if you didn't want to use the Newsline service, it seems like it might be worth it for some people to, get
Just
the
sign
app
up.
for free, sign up for free, and then you have that KNFB Reader app in there.
Thanks,
So
Molly.
that's a
Yeah,
good workaround.
I sure wish it was there when I bought the damn thing for $75,
Yeah.
and that was on sale.
Yeah, the main consensus seems to be if there's a cheaper app that does the same things in more, go for it, and you'll have a
Yeah.
good experience. So thank you for the info about VoiceStream, too, Angie. That's really helpful.
What are you talking about?
Oh, about VoiceStream. So
Oh
thank
yeah, I
you
love
for
it.
that.
It describes the photos better, I find.
Yes, I do really like them, and I like the way that they handle OCR. So
Yeah, mhm.
So for those who don't know, VoiceStream Scanner is, I think it's $6, or it was.
Yep.
And it tells you where to point the camera using sound. So the louder the sound, the better the photo will be, or the quality of the text. So something to keep in mind too. There's many apps out there. We just kind of scrape the surface. So keep an eye out for more of these apps and what they can do. Check out applevis.com, applevis.com. They have a whole database of apps that you can look through. And just like I said, keep an eye on the update date and make sure that it's something that's still current and being updated. So does anyone else have questions for us before we have to end?
I just have a couple questions while I got Molly and Angie. So, is there NFB Newsline app for the Android?
I believe so. Yeah. There's
Yes,
an
there
NFB
is.
Newsline app for iPhone, Android, and you can also use a skill on your. I'm standing right next to mine, so I'm going to say
A Lady A device.
Yes.
But the skill they're still trying to improve. So it's not as good
definitely. Yeah.
So do we know what the NFB Newsline app looks like on the Android? Because I have an Android and I'm trying to find the app. I have NFB Connect. I can't find NFB Newsline.
Gloria, put all caps NFB hyphen Newsline, all one word.
Good. Perfect.
That might help. And I will say, my A lady is talking to me, sorry. So I will say for the NFB Newsline app, I don't know if this is the case on Android, but on iPhone, my A lady is trying to remind me to take medication. Sorry.
Sure, right.
So for users who, the NFB Newsline app is fantastic for anyone using a screen reader. If you are a low vision user, I don't know how good the functionality is to increase the size of the font. It's fantastic if you're using a screen reader, but it's not, I don't know what the usability is like if you want to, increase the font size or, things like that. If anybody else knows, that would be helpful.
I did bring that up with the Newsline team, and they are trying to work on it. And because you can always leave them feedback, and they are trying to work on content. And the problem they have too, Scott White, when they get the news feeds from the newspapers and it's digitally downloaded, sometimes it's hard to mesh with it, to make everything work together.
Formatting is tricky.
Yeah.
Yep, I gotcha.
Because it depends on the
source of the text and
where they're getting their feed and all that. But they are working on it, and maybe somebody could be beta tests with them.
Definitely.
Contact them.
Yeah, I know I've noticed that, if you're working on a device where, you have it set to larger text or even just regular text, but you have it cranked up. If you go into the Newsline app, that setting does not affect the text within the app.
No.
So yeah, like Angie said, maybe, that's something that they may be working on, something that, works within their app to make the text bigger. But what I can say right now is it's fantastic if you're using a screen reader. I love it.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you need to read visually, it may not be the app for you.
Yeah.
But then again,
like,
there is the Echo skill, so that might work better for you.
Well, thank you guys.
So if you wanted, some suggestions or whatever, you can write to S White, like the color WHITE at nfb.org and put like Newsline app and like, write to them and I used to know their number by heart, but I just write them emails now. I don't know their numbers by heart anymore. But
thank you, Angie. That's super helpful.
Because I can't explain anything to them. Maybe you guys with low vision, could. I brought it up. Hey, what about the people with low vision? You're gonna do something about that. Oh, we're working on it, but
Of course. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what's in progress there. Yeah, thank you guys for the information. That's super helpful. Does anyone else have questions about anything mentioned here? We talked about a whole bunch, so. Well, I guess we did a good job, guys. So thank you guys for coming today. If anyone needs a recording of this, just shoot us an email. We can send it out to you. And thank you for joining us.
Great.
Yes.
Miranda?
Thank you very much.
Magnifier Plus.
Yes.
Thank you, Arlene.
Thank
Mary
you, guys.
Abby, what's the next session?
We have something about, we're going to be doing NFC tags for independence and QR codes. So a little bit more.
Good.
So next week is NFC tags, and then the week after is our typical discovery session. So
Party
16th
time.
is absolutely
Nice.
party in the house. We thank you all for coming.